Kill Me Again 2025 recap and analysis spoilers ahead. Basic setup. Title: Kill Me Again. Director, writer, Keith Jardine. Runtime: approximately 1h 48 minutes. Genre: horror, thriller, time loop horror mix. Main premise: Charlie, played by Brendan Fair, is a serial killer, known as the Midnight Mangler. He commits violent murders, and one fateful night, he finds himself stuck reliving that same night over and over again, in a time loop. He's trapped in a roadside diner setting with victims that die, bloodshed, etc. At first, Charlie embraces the loop, uses it to indulge his urges, basically knowing what he can do without long-term consequences. But gradually, the endless repetition drives him toward desperation. The loop becomes a prison. He wants out. Key plot beats and character arcs. Because the time loop structure means repeating events, what changes is Charlie's behavior, his mental state, and how he reacts to the same stimuli. Below are the major beats that shift over loops. 1. Initial murders and loop reset. Charlie kills several people in the diner scenario. After certain climactic violence, something triggers the reset. He wakes up at start of the night again. He remembers what happened. The reset is disorienting but also allows Charlie to experiment, try different methods, different timings, ways of escape. 2. Growing awareness and attempts to escape. Charlie starts noticing irregularities, things in the diner, in the victim's behavior, or in external cues that repeat. He begins to map variables. For example, small changes, maybe traffic outside, or the staff behavior, or the victim's locations. These clues provide him with limited leverage to alter what he does. 3. Self-reflection and guilt. As loops go on, Charlie becomes less confident in his villainous role. He begins to feel guilt, doubt. The repetitive carnage takes a toll. He starts questioning, is he doomed to always be the murderer? Can he change? There are moments where Charlie tries to stop himself from killing, or tries to avoid certain victims, but the loop pushes him back. 4. Supporting characters and their roles. There are other characters, staff, victims, diner workers, who become more than just fodder. Sometimes Charlie interacts differently, tries to save them, or accommodate them. These interactions change slightly from loop to loop. One or more victims begin to act differently, possibly suspecting the loop or showing pattern recognition. That increases tension. 5. Descent into desperation. As Charlie's efforts to escape repeatedly fail, he becomes unhinged. The endless resets, the gore, the psychological weight make him unravel. He attempts more reckless strategies. The diner, originally a place of control, for him becomes a prison. The night seems inexorably to lead to death for someone, and he fears it'll never end. 6. Twist resolution. The film builds toward a final twist. Either there is a way out, or Charlie discovers something about why he's in the loop, something connected to his past, or maybe some supernatural or sci-fi element tied to the diner night scenario. In many reviews, the ending is seen as emotional. Charlie's suffering, combined with his repeated attempts to change, gives the ending weight. Some reviews liked that it wasn't just blood and gore, but asked deeper questions of fate, violence, identity. Themes, deeper layers. Time loop as punishment and self-reflection. The film uses the loop not just as a novelty, but as a way to force Charlie to confront himself, his urges, guilt, inability to break patterns. True crime obsession. The director has said one reason for this film was to explore how true crime stories often turn villains into figures fans follow. Here, the villain is forced to be the protagonist of his own nightmare. Cycle of violence. Each reset exaggerates how violence breeds more violence, and how difficult it is to stop once started. Identity and escape. Can someone defined by their worst acts ever escape them? The loop functions metaphorically. Many people might live repetitive nights of regret or violence, morally or internally, though not literally in time loops. Strengths and weaknesses. What works well? Brendan Fair's performance is often praised. He balances menace, weariness, desperation. Visuals. The diner becomes a character. The sets are claustrophobic, tight, the lighting, the practical effects, blood, gore, give weight. Emotional punch. By the end, you care about Charlie's predicament even if you despise him initially. What some criticized. The pacing. Repeating the same night many times means some loops feel redundant, and the mid-section drags. The loop's rules aren't always crystal clear, sometimes resets happen without clear triggers, which reduces tension because one isn't always sure what can be changed or how. Some supporting characters feel thin, more like victims' scenery than full characters. Their arcs are secondary. Overall take, Kill Me Again is a strong addition to the time loop horror thriller genre. It uses a villain protagonist to explore morality and repetition in violence. It's gruesome, dark, and psychologically intense. While it may not reinvent the genre, it gives it a fresh spin, especially in how Charlie's mindset shifts across loops. If you're into horror, psychological thrillers, or time loop stories, this is worth watching. If you liked it, subscribe to my YouTube channel.